All right, we are now live, Alice. We're doing our weekly Hang with the Band series, so come on up and hang, and feel free to ask questions. We're just doing like a post Thanksgiving Day hang over here, so I'm definitely still digesting some food. It's been a process, but yeah, feel free to like bring questions or not. We could have like a pretty quick hang, or you could keep us here for an hour. It's up to you. Um, yeah, what did you guys do for Thanksgiving? What was your week like? Sasha,
Oh,
Tosh,
Oh, I was
maybe.
gonna say, oh,
oh.
us?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you can go first.
Well, it's just family, food, and football, like the three F's of Thanksgiving. So, of course, here football means soccer. So, it was, well, and football, I guess, like American football and uh everyone else's football. And so yeah, the usual, ate so much food, ate like 5 Thanksgiving meals and still eating them. It's fantastic. Leftover Sunday takes on a whole new meaning
Mhm.
on the Sunday after Thanksgiving. So yeah, it was good. It was good. And please forgive any barking dogs. There are many dogs doing many barks. So I will try and smoosh them as possible. But what about y'all?
Family and cooking. I did a lot of the cooking. So yes,
Oh man,
lots and lots of cooking. Yes.
what'd you wind up cooking this year?
My family has kind of a variety of diets. So figuring out like how to do vegan Thanksgiving, for some vegan and gluten-free Thanksgiving for some
That's
family.
so cool.
Yeah, yeah. So
That's
yeah, and our
awesome.
our Thanksgiving was a little non-traditional. So and of course we threw in some Thai dishes because it wouldn't be our family without some Thai dishes thrown in there.
So yummy. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a blur for me. All I remember was there was a lot of food, and you know, sort of food coma. This became a point where I was just like, I wasn't able to like be conscious anymore, because there's so
Yes.
much food. And yeah, I'm still recovering. I'm in recovery, post turkey recovery day. Um, it's definitely a thing. But yeah. Yeah, nothing too eventful. Just like family time. It's good to like rest after all of our touring. All the insanity of like the last half of the year was just like so crazy, and just getting some like family time and rest time. It's like really, really good. Um, but yeah. But yeah, if you're joining the stream right now, feel free, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We love hanging out with y'all in the chat. And if there's anything you want to bring up about our tour, about future music, we're definitely like, I mean, just thinking about that, we're definitely getting ready for some stuff that's even happening this year. So we're performing in downtown Los Angeles at the Biltmore Hotel for this New Year's Eve event. We are actually playing as Alice Underground, so it's like a little bit different than our typical setup. So we're definitely going to be getting ready for that. Um, yeah, other than that, we're going to be writing. We got some more. I think there's going to be another compilation that we're submitting a song to. So I'll be hitting the ground running when I get home. Coming home tomorrow from Thanksgiving. So yeah, it's we're it doesn't stop really. It's pretty relentless, but I'm so grateful and excited to just keep on doing music. It's like constant.
Yeah, we're working on also our spring tour that's coming up in April, May. So like going to the Northeast. So we're really excited about that. And yes, it is a relentless 24/7 situation. I was joking with a friend online about how it's like we don't really get weekends and holidays. But it's so worth it.
Yeah,
Absolutely worth it. And we're really looking forward to getting out there again. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, any dance training or self choreography? Yes, to both actually. Both me and Sasha come from a dance backgrounds. I myself, primarily with modern, a little bit of ballet and jazz, but mostly modern. And in our videos, we've worked with some really amazing choreographers. So our Nichelle Bain is like one of our main choreographers that helped us out like with our electrical video, and she helped out with our breathe video. We also get to work with Kazi Buchanan, Sheena Lay, Lennon Hobson. They're all amazing. In a video that we hopefully will have coming out sooner than later, Something to Believe, I worked with 6 choreographers actually. So that was really amazing. But yes, we love incorporating dance into our videos. It's definitely in our hearts to bring dance into our music. So.
Oh, and you got to do underwater dancing with Nichelle for a time.
Oh yeah. Nichelle helped choreograph the underwater dance bit. So and Kazi was our dancer that we focused in on as well. So and she was self choreographed for that. So.
And I don't do any dancing.
We did
No
try to
dancing
actually for the
me.
Breathe video just for fun. We were like, okay, guys, let's learn a little bit of the Thai dance sequence, and that was really cute. I'm glad that we caught some BTS on that. Gordon actually did really well with that.
Yeah, it was good. And I am super glad we have the BTS. It's delicious.
I haven't not seen that, so that's definitely something we gotta take a look at. I don't know if we're gonna release it though.
Oh, saying hi to Amin. So great to see you on here. Hope you're doing well. Sending lots of love to Algeria.
Oh wow.
And
Yeah, definitely welcome.
Dusty
Jeremiah.
says oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Oh, Jeremiah was saying that he hopes that we come to Arkansas. And yes, that would be really awesome. We've never played in Arkansas. So that would be awesome. That's definitely on our bucket list. I'm like, goal is to hit like all the states, obviously we're in different countries, but that's on the bucket list for sure.
We should get one of those scratch off like state. I've seen these like United States like state scratch off things where when you've been to a state, you scratch it off and you put a little picture on it or something. We should get one of those for the studio.
Oh, that'd be fun. Or put like a little map with pins in it. That'd be really fun.
Oh, I love that. Dusty Chalk says you do the pedal board stomp though, Scott.
I do do stompy stomp. I definitely do some.
You do the stompy stomp.
Yeah, I was looking at some like because I'm like always like cutting together footage for like Instagram videos and stuff like that, and I was just doing one for when we played at Mechanismus for Breathe, and I'm like running all over the stage. So I guess that's sort of like a variation of some sort of dancing, I suppose.
Stomp, yeah.
It
totally counts.
It's part of the choreography.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Jeremiah is asking what country is everyone from? Well, we're all from the US. I guess me and Carl are the ones that are a little bit multicultural. I'm half Thai, half Irish, but I'm a Irish Texan, I guess you could say, because I'm from Texas. And Carl is half Puerto Rican, but also born in the States and also a Texan. So he's a Puerto Rican Texan, Porto Texan, and everybody else is just from various parts of the States. So,
I'm definitely American. Yep. I don't know from the United States.
From New Jersey.
Definitely from Jersey, New York. Like I was actually born in upstate New York, and I lived in New Jersey until I was like 20 years old, and I moved out to California. But I definitely feel like more of a California native now than anything because I've been out there for a while, and I just love it. So I definitely consider it my home state, my hometown.
Oh, Amin is actually in SoCal now. That's awesome. We should all get together sometime. That would be really great to see you in person.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And
very cool.
And Andrew is English, Scott, Scandinavian. That's an awesome combination.
Nice. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm just like posting in the Mad Hatter Army right now that we're streaming. I didn't actually set up like any event or give anyone forewarning. We just went live, so we're just winging it at this point. So feel free to just hop on and hang out. But yeah,
Jeremiah is saying that he wants to try New York pizza. It's really funny. So I grew up in Texas, right? And you know, we we have like Pizza Hut. Like, so when I first moved to LA, like they didn't know what pizza buffets were. And I'm like, pizza buffets are amazing because it's like all the pizza, all you can eat. And then when Scott started playing in a band with me, he's like, no, you have to try East Coast pizza. He's like, it's next level. And so I was introduced and I was like, oh, that's what people are talking about. So yes, the band definitely shares a love for pizza.
And I feel like we've had such a
Yeah.
pizza education. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no,
Oh
you
yeah,
go.
for sure. For sure. Yeah, like the Chicago and Detroit
Yeah.
pizza. Yeah.
Who knew? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, hi, Tiffany. Hello, hello.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up the pizza tour we went on this past summer when we were like in the Midwest. We went to Chicago, we went to Detroit, and it was like, all right, let's try all the different variations of pizza. And specifically, like Detroit and Chicago are so different than like anything you get on the West Coast or even like the East Coast, you know, because Chicago is like literally like a brick of cheese, you know, and it's amazing. And like you can't eat for like a full day after that, you know, it's just like so much cheese. But it's delicious and magical, you know, for us cheese lovers. And then Detroit pizza is like, I don't even know. It's like a combination of like Chicago meets New York City, and it's like sort of like in between. So it's sort of like this thick sort of situation, but it's still like, you know, the crust feels more East Coast, but the cheese feels more Chicago. I don't know. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, Jeremiah is saying that pizza is his favorite food. I think we can all agree on our end. Definitely favorite in the band for sure.
Yeah, we love our pizza.
Robert is asking the equipment that we prefer live and in the studio. That's a good question. We use a lot of equipment. So I guess it just depends on like if you're talking any specific instruments or production or whatnot. Scott, you could probably speak to that. For me, I like the piano and pen and paper, or pencil and paper, actually. That's my equipment of choice because I am totally an analog girl. And also voice notes. Yep. How about you, Scott?
Yeah, I mean, I could talk a lot about equipment. But like in terms of my own setup, I've been like in the past couple of years, like trying to keep my live setup more and more. I'm like trying to match what I do in the studio. So I actually use live. I use what's called a Line 6 Helix. It's basically it's this incredible effects guitar, like for guitar and keyboard and even vocals. It's an effects processor and amp emulator, and it's so good that it actually, you know, really very closely emulates different amps that I love, you know. So when I'm actually recording in the studio, I use the same thing. So I'm able to sort of just like, if I figure something out in the studio that I really like, I'll just literally copy and paste it to my effects processor. And, you know, I'll just be playing the same exact sound you hear on the record. But at the same time, live, I'm also playing through this incredible amplifier. So it's a hybrid setup. So it's a divided by 13 FTR 37 amplifier. So I'm getting like all my effects like from the stuff that I've done in the studio, but then I'm like mixing it in with this live beast of an amp, and it definitely creates something a little bit different, you know, in the live environment. It's not like totally like amp emulators and that sort of thing. But yeah, that's definitely something I've been working on these days. And I mean, if Gordon was here, he could probably talk for hours. And Steve, you know, he actually has a dedicated drum kit just for the studio, and he also has a dedicated drum kit just for playing live, so that he could just like bash it out. and not worry too much about like, breaking cymbals or anything. On our last tour, his crash cymbal was starting to like break, and it looks like somebody took a bite out of it. So, you know, that's the sort of thing that'll happen live, where like in the studio, you kind of want to have things like as pristine as possible. But yeah, I don't know. Sash, what do you have any do you have any specific equipment things that you like live or in the studio or anything like that?
Premiere Pro. Yep. And
Nice.
After Effects. More and more learning After Effects. Media Encoder is still a beast. I'm still figuring out what all those tabs mean. And so yeah, those would be the equipments that I think about when people are like, what equipment do you use? The slapper is the same in rehearsal or on the stage. It's the exact same, guys. Like don't even pretend like it's not.
So for those of you that are new to us, Sasha is the mastermind behind most of our videos. So she is talking about video editing programs. Those are her tools of choice.
My tools are the
Yeah.
ticky tickies.
Yes.
So yeah.
So
She is.
Jeremiah is asking if we could play a different instrument than what we normally play, what would we like to play?
I can answer that pretty quickly. I think when I was first offered the chance to play music, you're like I was in like third or fourth grade, and they had this school assembly where they're like, all right, you're all gonna like get a choice to pick an instrument. And here are all the potential instruments you could pick. And they had someone play drums, they had someone play like clarinet, flute, that sort of thing. And it was for like band, And I was like, drums, absolutely. It's the loudest, most destructive thing I could possibly do. And I was definitely loud and destructive as a kid. So I was like, let me play the drums. But they were out of slots for that position. So they're like, you get to play the flute. So I learned how to play the flute. So in fourth grade, like I didn't know, whatever, I guess after playing the flute for a little bit, I got made fun of. Like I didn't know it was like not cool or something, but there was a period of time where I got really into it. I was like, wow, this is really easy. And the teachers were like, okay, you're showing that you can play the flute and stuff. But there was a certain point where I didn't even really realize it, but I was just getting made fun of. And at the time I was like, I don't know, I guess I won't play the flute because nobody seems to like me now. But it was a weird time in my life. But everyone, growing up, like, runs into these situations. But anyways, so that was the end of my flute career in fourth grade. And then when I turned 12 or 13, I immediately turned to the guitar, and that was just like love at first, everything, so yeah, didn't stop.
How about you, Sash?
Well, as a kid, I wanted to play the harp, and that was shot down so fast. So I went the ballet route instead. But I think now I would also want to play drums. I want to sit back there and just pound away at the drums and make it sound not like poop. Like I feel like if I were to do it now, everyone would be like, you can't even clap to the rhythm, kid. Like, so, but I've been getting better at hitting the slapper on 2. So maybe I'll upgrade to trying 2 and like 4. So
yeah,
how about you?
I think you can do it.
Woo, watch out. It's the same. Yeah. How about you?
Well, actually the cello. So I grew up, my first instrument's the piano, and then voice. So kind of simultaneous. But my piano teacher didn't want me to study more than one actual instrument. So I showed interest in cello, but she was like, no, we should just focus on the piano. Anyway, Carl, our keyboard player, is a cello player. So he was gracious enough to show me some things on the cello, and I made it successfully sound like a dying bird. Like a really, really sad dying bird. It's really
Wait.
hard to play the cello, y'all. It was like dying bird or dying seal. So I would like to make. I know, it's like sad seal. So I would love to be able to play the cello, but like nicely, so that it doesn't sound like a poor dying animal.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Now I want to hear it. I kind of want to hear
That's
it.
what I was gonna say. Your next
no.
cello lesson, we have to have some behind the scenes of your cello work.
Oh man. Yeah. So
I think I was reading, there was a question, I don't know which chat it was, but it was basically like, if you had to describe Alice as a pizza, what kind of pizza would it be?
ooh. Well, it'd have to be half C's. It'd have to be like half C's because Sasha can't take spice. And there are those of us that love the spice. I feel like like Alice does include the spicy side.
Yes.
It's
I'm
the
getting
dark
better.
side.
My spice training is going well. I sometimes make the sound of a dying bird, but I do feel like the spice training is getting a little better.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
I've seen you do pretty well with the spice. You know, like you'll try it and you're like, you know, you're able to do it, you know, but obviously it's like not too much.
No, not too much. But you're right. I think it'd have to be halvesies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
Like, it would be like, for Steve, it'd be like a donut pizza because he likes donuts. Like, that'd be disgusting.
He does love donuts.
I think
well, I mean, there's dessert. Well, there's dessert pizza, right? So
yeah.
So, but that, I mean,
I think like, how would you make a donut pizza? Like, you'd have to have a really big donut, and how would you keep it from like squashing? You know, because then it's just like a giant cinnamon toast, right?
Yeah.
Like just a huge cinnamon toast, which I think sounds delicious. But then you have to think about what you're going to put on it. Like, what do you put on a dessert pizza? Because everything I can think of that is like, oh, that sounds awful. So I guess just a big cinnamon toast pizza sounds okay.
Yeah, I feel like we'd all have our own individual pizza probably, but then if you want to put it all together, someone could come into the room and just like slam them all together. But I don't know.
That might not work all together. I think we'd have to hire sections.
Like a pizza wizard.
Yeah.
Pizza wizard, definitely. Yeah.
Now I just want a pizza wizard.
Robert is asking how the idea for our live makeup came about, Miss Sasha.
That is a great question. Thank you for asking. When we were doing the 13th hour, we were talking about because we were making, during the 13th hour, we released a new music video, new artwork, and a new song every full moon for 14 months. It was going to be 13 months. We were just having such a good time. It was 14 months. So the 13th hour is a 14 song project. But we were having a great time with it. And we were trying to figure out, because it all takes place in this pseudo post-apocalyptic universe, right? And we wanted to try to visually establish that we are a unit as much as we did sonically. And so we came up with this war paint, face paint markings to sort of delineate like we are a group. And it feels like it can't really, it's harder to perform now without it on. You know, like it feels proper. Like I don't have my face on until I have all the paint. And it all evolved over time. Like everyone's evolved for different reasons and different ways. And it's fun to like see how they all change, because people will say like, hey, can we try this time, or try a little bit like this? And so it is morphed and changed over the last few years. But thank you for asking. That is where it came from. And we have again, talking about our incredible community, we've had the opportunity to work with amazing hair and makeup artists. When Something to Believe comes out, you'll see Rachel's just gorgeous work everywhere, and she has helped us learn how to do it and how to keep it on our faces in strange and wonderful situations, like in a pool or in the rain. And so it's been it's a journey. and I feel like next we were talking about having to do like something with fire, like massive hot shoots, and you know, we're just shoot in a volcano. So I'm sure the makeup will have to be set differently for that as well. So that is the how. I think I answered the question.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So Jeremiah is asking what kind of fears that we have as adults.
Wow, that's definitely a nice little curveball. Well, I mean, it's like I have these weird dreams sometimes where it's like, you know, it's like your typical nightmare dream where you're like in school, you're like walking down the street, and all of a sudden you're naked, you know, and it's like that's definitely a fear, you know, like what if I forget to put my clothes on? You know, I don't know.
I'm so glad that you were like, these are dreams. This isn't a thing that happened, and now you have a trauma. Like you. No.
But I'm trying to think of a real answer to that question. It's definitely not an easy one. Anyone else want to go?
Well, fear is such an interesting topic because sort of I look at it like from the Dune perspective, where, you know, fear is the mind killer. And if I do feel something where I feel like it prickles me or, you know, causes something to arise, I like to just kind of feel it and look at it and just be like, well, hello, friends, let's have a conversation, right? Like I wrote a children's book about it. And I mean, I feel like it's only natural to have what feels like fears, but it's more of a matter of like how you react and choose to act on them, you know? So I don't know. I mean, there's so many that I could talk about. You know, like even when I go on stage, I feel what could be perceived as fear because I feel like this bubbling energy in my stomach. But I like to kind of translate it as like excitement. So like in the past, what could have been I could have named as a fear, I now call it excitement and energy. When I look at, you know, the potential of losing a loved one or watching people that you care about suffer, or watching anyone in the world suffer for that matter, and feeling powerless to be able to help, you know, it's like I have to ask myself the question, what is it that I have control over? And what is it I can do as an individual in the present to be able to, you know, hopefully shift what can feel like a fear. So just like I have the power to shift, you know, what I consider, oh, I'm nervous or scared about a show, I now look at it as excitement. You know, I look at it as the potential of transformation, right?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm so glad you brought up your book. I was like, can I bring up her book if she doesn't bring up her book? Because I think you hit the nail on the head in a bajillion ways, but especially with talking about how like the fear is a feeling, right? It's a sensation that either bubbles up slowly or is like kablamo, I'm afraid, right? And it's how you maneuver it within yourself into what are you going to do, right? How can I use this positively? How can I help myself and my community? And because I find that the paralysis of fear rarely, especially when talking about, because I also get the stage fright. And if I was just going to be afraid of the show, then I would do a very bad job of performing. So being able to turn it into, no, we're going to go out there, we're going to do the thing. And so I'm grateful you brought that up. And I'm grateful you brought up your book because it's fantastic. And I think that the way that you personify it is so, it's just so spot on and so endearing. that it makes it less scary.
Well, thank you. I think that, if you, I like the John Lennon approach where he talks about bringing in a little spoonful of sugar into messages. And, if we're able to look at what can be like negative or scary or dark, and we put a little sweetness into it. And in my case, I was like, well, here's this cute little furry demon creature, and it's really his shadow
Yeah.
that's scary, but not him. He's actually kind of cute, and if you hold him, he can be like one of your best friends. I don't know. I think that it's again a way of transforming things.
Yeah. I know the book is really, really a great way. It's a great metaphor, even for like adults, when you're trying to think of fears. But yeah, I mean, I think for me, like thinking of a more serious answer, definitely my friends or loved ones getting hurt is a huge fear of mine, something happening to the people that I love is always something I have a lot of anxiety about and a lot of fear about. So yeah, that's a big one for me.
Dusty did
Yeah.
chime in to say that Dusty always has to check whether or not he has pants on every time he steps outside. I want to point out in the third person, this Dusty wrote this. Dusty has to check whether or not he has pants on. And it's like, yes, especially after the pandemic when nobody wore pants for years. So the big ones, no pants.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, oh yeah, I could talk for days about that sort of situation.
No pants.
The big,
pants.
no pants, just imagine being on stage performing, all of a sudden you're like, wait a second. All right. I'm going back.
I forgot something.
I forgot something.
Don't worry, we would never let you go on without pants. None of us. We would all be like, "Ho, stop the show."
That's true.
Yeah, we got you. It will never be a no pants show.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. Steve would be like throwing drumsticks at me, like, dude, get off the stage.
Well, technically, Steve is the only one that can get away with no pants since he's behind the drums.
Yes. He could do no pants.
Yes.
I want him to wear pants.
Yes, I agree.
I approve of
we
pants.
should all wear our pants.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. He could totally get away with no pants. Yeah.
Yes.
And we would never know. Like if he took them off back there, like while he was playing, I don't know how you would play and get out of your britches, but like if he took them off, we would not know. Like he could probably do it too. Sneaky Steve.
Yeah. He's not here, so we could totally talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so we're here. If you're just coming in to our live stream, we do a Sunday stream every Sunday where we try to hang out and answer questions that you might have. So if you have any questions for the band, feel free to ask away. We try to keep it at about an hour or so. So we still have a little time left. So feel free to ask away if you have any burning questions in the back of your mind about anything that we do.
And sending some love to Christina. We miss you too. We are planning on being back in Arizona on our next tour, hopefully. So we're working on that. We'll keep you posted.
We have a question from Gothamite66 here. Hi, by the way. What is your process for deciding the order of songs on an album? It's a great question.
On an album, it's I think a matter of figuring out there's a lot of things like where we're thinking about concepts and flow and taking people on a journey and how do we want to introduce this universe and then how do we want to end it and then filling it in between where it's like, okay, in this part we'd like to have something that's very high energy. So it really just depends on a story that we're trying to tell.
Yeah. It's a dream of mine to do a concept album like Pink Floyd's The Wall to me is like the ultimate concept album. And if you listen to it, like each song just like there's no beginning and end. Like each song just goes into the next seamlessly, you know, and even at the very end of the album, you could hear hints of the beginning of the first song. So it's almost like at the very end, it just loops back into the first song, you know, which is just really amazing. But yeah, I feel like for what we're doing, like what Tosh is saying, you know, it's basically what we try to do when we're doing an album is just like figure out the best flow, you know, what the peaks and valleys are, what story do we want to tell, you know, you know, we might come closer to the idea of the conceptual sort of album, you know. I know a lot of bands don't do full albums anymore, but it's definitely something we're always striving to do, you know, because we'll still do like single releases and individual releases, but we're always trying to like tie it all together. Like for our current, what we're working on currently, it's definitely like a conceptual double album, 2-part album, As Above, So Below. So So Below is definitely going to be the counterpart to As Above. So we're really excited to write more material and to think more in terms of like that concept. So it's very exciting.
Robert was asking funniest road story. I'll start. So I take a little while to get out of the van when we're like housing for the night. So we were staying with some friends and everyone had already gone in, you know, and I was like gathering my things and I walk into the house and it's like really dark and I'm like, wow, everyone already went to sleep so quickly. Like there's a guy sleeping on the couch and I'm like, oh wow, okay, everybody was so fast. And it took me a second to realize I had walked into the wrong house. And I had literally like walked into a complete stranger's house. And thankfully the guy on the couch, yeah, he didn't, this happened when it was somewhere in Oregon. So anyway, the guy on the couch did not wake up, thankfully, because I would have given the poor guy a scare. But Tasha's funniest road story is when she walked into the wrong house, just ready to, I'm like, I have my pillow and blanket, I'm ready to go. Oh, I'm in the wrong house. So
you are not my mother. You are a Snork.
You're not.
Wow, I did not know that.
I can't even like I can't compete with that.
I can't think of anything now. All I can think about is you, like your squishy and your pillow and your bag. And you're just like, this is the wrong place. Like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Apparently,
it'd be really funny if they saw you.
No, that would have been not funny. But clearly, Tosh needs a handler. I need a handler because, yeah.
Yeah, the panda wrangling is a real job.
Panda wrangling is a real job. Yep.
Yes. Wow, I have nothing.
Definitely, pandas need wrangling.
I definitely.
I'm actually gonna check out some of your tour notes on our website.
No.
You know what? I have some from this tour that we haven't released yet. I do. I have some. If you can trust me to read my own words on the internet.
Yes.
Let's see. There are probably not that many. And I have to find them, of course. This one says, I wish I had a porcupine setting. Not sure what that's about. So it just says tour notes. I wish I had a porcupine setting. Great news. There we go. Don't put your microphone directly in front of the guitar amp. Who knew? What musician would think to put crazy? Don't headbang. It's my fault. I just said it right there. Don't headbang too close to the stairs that lead up to the stage.
Ooh.
You know, sometimes there are stairs that go up the side. That was the kerfluffly moment. Here we go. Always have a Ziploc baggie.
That's a solid one. That's a solid one.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Oh, this one says, I think I've said this with every tour notes, but touring teaches you the fine art of letting go. You literally have control over so little and things can change at the drop of a hat and you just have to be able to roll with it you know, or you'll drive yourself bonkers, completely bonkers. Stuff happens. Other bands don't show up, you venues aren't open. So you just kind of have to be like, we got this. And you do what you can do, right? Take nothing personally, nothing ever. Everyone is tired, everyone is focused, everyone is doing their best, and you never know who has to poop. So, it's important. It's just important. And favorite one, when you wear black lipstick, okay, and you sing with your lips on your microphone, right? And then you bonk your nose on your microphone, you will have a little grid on the end of your nose until someone tells you.
Oh boy.
Yep. So those are the ones that I have in this one. I feel like there's a couple of other separate notes, but yes, definitely came off stage with like a perfect little grid of the microphone, little black, like bonk right there from one night. So glad nobody got a picture of that. Or if they did, don't share it.
Yeah. Jeremiah says, sounds like Sasha needs a pet porcupine. And I think we all could use a porcupine, once in a while.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, they're so cute. They're so cute. They're little wibble wobble when they're walking and when they try to like carry anything. Oh my gosh. And they can't back up. Porcupines can't back up. Okay. Because if they, it's like, oh, let me try again. Porcupines are perfectly capable of backing up. I do not mean, I apologize to all porcupines everywhere. Porcupines cannot go through a small, like a dog door and then back up. So if porcupines get halfway through a dog door, they have to keep going forward because they will poke themselves with their pokes. And so if you have a porcupine, then you need a dog door, but make it a big enough dog door that if the porcupine decides it doesn't want to go out, it can back up. These are things I really think about.
Once our tour vehicle is large enough, we'll have a pet porcupine.
Or what are they called? It's like
hedge
if
pigs?
They're not porcupine. Thank you.
The hedge pigs? Yes.
Hedge pig. Yeah. Yeah.
Hedge pigs?
Yes. Tiny. They're tiny porcupines that don't actually like stab you.
They're not quite as pokey.
But they're not quite as pokey. They're very cute. And they're very snuffly. They're snuffly little beasts.
They snuffle a lot, I imagine.
Yeah, little snuffles.
So Tiffany is asking what's on the slate for us. And so we do have a few releases coming up. We're going to be releasing a song that we did for a comic book, like we wrote a theme song for a comic book, and a music video also is going to come out with that. So we don't have the date yet for that, but that's on deck. And then we're going to be part of a compilation album that's actually a benefit. And also we are getting ready for a big New Year's Eve show as Alice Underground, our jazzy swing band. And then I'm putting together the tour in the spring. So we're actually going to be coming back to Colorado Springs. I'm excited about that. And also working on the second part of our double albums. So we're going to be probably housing up in Joshua Tree again and doing some writing and creating and music videoing and shooting and all that fun stuff. So creating a lot of art, a lot of creation. So we've been in super creative writing mode.
It is the gooey cave time.
It is gooey cave time.
Gooey cave.
Yeah,
time.
it's when the most of the sunlight is like sort of dormant, and there's a lot of time to just like do some self-reflection and write some music. This is that time of year, so we're really excited to like write some new stuff. Like we already have a bunch of stuff that we wrote, but it's always really fun to like see where we're all at collectively and just like get together and write. Because the last time we did that really was in January of 2020. So it'll be a whole new experience, I feel like, and really, really excited.
Oh, and Craig is asking which comic book. We can't share that yet, but we will have announcements hopefully sooner than later. So we're excited about it. really amazing story, really amazing writer. And yeah, we're very, very excited about that. So yeah, we will definitely
Yeah.
keep you posted for sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
Dusty
Amia's
Chalk is.
asking, oh, go ahead. Sorry. What did Dusty
Oh,
Chalk?
I was gonna say he mentioned that if he was asking if those two songs aren't going to go on the new album that we're going to get that we're putting out. He's saying, are those two songs that didn't get put on As Above going to go on So Below? And I think there's a good chance that at least the comic book song will be part of So Below. Very.
And so is Time. Like Time will definitely get put on.
Oh yeah, Time definitely.
Mhm.
That's already something we put up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you, Tosh.
Oh, no, no, no. All good. All good. All good.
Okay.
Hannah Marie actually, to tie into that, as was asking what inspires us. I love talking about inspiration.
Mm.
Um, life life inspires us. I feel like on a day-to-day basis, there's never a shortage of inspiration. Like, you know, what I love people watching. So just observing, you know, people and myself as a people, and my own human story, but also like seeing the stories of people around me. And sometimes I'll get like inspired from just like melodies that'll just pop in my head. So I'll get like a
Mm.
melodic or rhythmic idea, and then like I'll form words or poetry on top of that. So and it's like some songs, like for me at least, come all together. So like the words, the melody, the rhythm, all at the same time. But it really just depends. I know Scott's very inspired by sound.
Yeah, I was just thinking that when I sit down to do writing, oftentimes it's like I'll start with just a like literally like a blank sound, whether it's a synthesizer, um, or a drum beat or a guitar, like whatever it is. Like when I'll just play around until like I find something that sounds nice. And then from there I'll try to turn it into like a musical idea. And oftentimes they don't really turn into like real musical ideas. But if I do enough of them, a lot of the times, like I'll be like, all right, here's like, out of these 10 ideas, here's like two or three that could potentially become a song. And it usually begins with sound, like just hearing the frequencies and the chord changes. Sometimes like giving myself limitations is nice. It's like saying, okay, let's like come up with a song structure that only uses two or three chords. Or like limiting myself to like a specific instrument. Like, all right, let's just write something purely on piano or purely on acoustic guitar and see how that goes. So there's so many ways to be inspired, like musically. And yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do.
How about you, Sash? What inspires you?
I'm so visual. I would say most of what inspires me is the life, the people I'm around, the um people I love. But then also it's just being so visual. I think we were talking about this the other day. It can be a passage in a book or a bird in a
Mm.
puddle or birds come up a lot right now flying. Like there's buzzards here and they're huge. They're
Oh,
huge and I
wow.
see them flying and I'm just like,
Wow.
holy cannoli, look, these massive birds wearing like little bloomers, like the buzzards all look like they have these fluffy pants on, and I they're so pretty. And the dichotomy of these fluffy feathers with this leathery, like bumpy ridged leather skin, like they're so pretty.
Mm.
So I've been a little obsessed with buzzards. But I think it just depends a lot of times with the music, like when we're talking about the meaning of it and the feeling of it and where we're trying to go with it, that leads to like a spin of visual ideas. So I think I'm so visual that it's the eyeball onslaught of daily life that's so inspiring.
Mm-hmm. Jeremiah is asking how we all met and came together as a band. And
Mm.
so it really depends. Like we opened up, so Scott also plays in a band called Collide. and my band Mankind is Obsolete opened up for his band Collide when we played at the El Rey together. Collide was shooting a music video, or sorry, like a live performance video. Like I remember thinking like, holy wow, that guitarist has an incredible sound. And so like we all like got along so well. Same thing with Steve. Like he was playing for Android Lust when MKO toured. We toured together. And the same thing where we all just got along so well. I went to theater school with Carl, and in Sasha's case, we met her when we were playing this big masquerade ball called the Labyrinth of Jareth Masquerade Ball. Yes, many words. She was doing the event producing for this particular event. And so yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell like how we all met, and we were all like pretty immediate kindred spirits where we're like, we need to make things together and be a band together and make our dreams, like our dream creations together. And so yeah, that's how we kind of all collected. Yeah.
Wahaha.
Mwahaha.
Yeah, I can't really
Yeah.
add much to that. That basically sums it all up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, we have like about two minutes left. Let's see.
Oh, Robbie, we definitely want to come to Alabama. Absolutely. Alabama and Arkansas are two states that we have not visited. So definitely we'll put on our bucket list for sure. Oh, David says, come get French toast for dinner. That sounds awesome. Thank you for the invitation. One of these days we will invent instant transport. Yeah.
Jump in the van
for dinner.
That sounds really good right about now, actually. I saw Elver was asking, what are your favorite rock bands that inspired you growing up? And what do you think of the popularity of rock music now in 2022? So that's a cool question. I'll try to answer a little bit because we have like a small amount of time left. But my favorite rock bands growing up, like I was exposed to a lot of rock music growing up because my parents were like really into like rock and folk music. So it was like I heard a lot of like old blues guitarists, Delta blues, bluegrass, all the way to like the Beatles, to Jimi Hendrix, Pink Floyd. Like it was always stuff, you know, the Eagles they loved. They loved who else? Allman Brothers Band. They loved God, you know, Santana. Like all these like classic like 60s, 70s bands, you know. And so it was just always like hearing it, and also the Talking Heads. Like for some reason, that was like a huge thing that was always playing, you know, growing up. So yeah, it was just like around all that, and they actually got me going to concerts when I was really young too. I think my first concert was a Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. My parents brought me to this concert at like Madison Square Garden, you know, when I was like, you know, 11 or 12, I think, you know, and I was just like in awe, you know, just seeing these musical giants just like play. But yeah, just to answer the second part of that, the current popularity of rock music, I feel like rock music is never going to die, you know, and it's always, I feel like it's in everything. Like if you think of the musical history, you know, you think of people like you got like, you know, your Delta blues players, you've got jazz, and you have like Elvis, you know, all these like people that were like the original rockers, you know, like all that music is now in every other genre. Like it's all part of us, you know, even in hip hop and country, like you'll hear elements of rock and vice versa. So rock music's always here. So, and it's always something I feel like people are going to be passionate about. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well done.
Bye. All right. Well, I think it's that time. We're gonna wrap it up, and really happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Thanks everyone for all of your Thanksgiving wishes, and hope you all had a great time with your families and your friends. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, hope you still had a good time. So whatever you are, wherever you are, whoever you are, like hope you're having a good weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Lots of love,
Thank
y'all.
you. Thanks so much for being here.
Bye.